Hey guys, it's me, PaPokeman. Today I wanted to talk about a brand new game on this channel. Well, I guess technically not brand new if you are a long-time watcher. I did make a couple of videos back in the day about Marvel Future Fight, and, you know, they were nice, but I'm gonna talk today about Marvel Future Fight as if this is another one of my first impressions video, and this is a game I'm interested in expanding upon with this channel to maybe talk about it more often, so that way it's not always Marvel Strike Force. But again, like I said before, we're gonna do the first impressions to review system to make sure that we're talking about games that you guys want to hear about. So today are going to be my quote-unquote first impressions for Marvel Future Fight, even though I've played it for roughly 2 years. So here's a quick look at my roster if you want to take a gander at it, so you guys get an idea of how long I've been playing this game for. So I am relatively invested in this game, to say the least. But I'm going to treat this video as if you've never played Marvel Future Fight before, and I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of what you have going on in this game. So of course, this is a game where it's sort of like a Diablo style game in terms of gameplay. I don't know exactly what that falls under. An RPG, and you take Marvel heroes and villains into battle. So here's I'll go through a couple of them so you guys get an idea of what they look like. The models in this game are pretty high quality. Some of them are, you know, sometimes they're not exactly, the polygons maybe aren't as high as sometimes you'd maybe hope, but I still think they look really great for mobile games, all things considered. I mean, these are still incredible for on the phone. Of course, I'm playing this on Nox on my computer, but I mean, this stuff looks pretty good. So before I take you guys into the skill preview screen, so I could give you guys a quick rundown on how every character works in this game. Essentially, in terms of building up characters, every character has 6 stars. You upgrade those by collecting their biometrics. Usually, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, from biometrics. Then you can master them up by spending special materials to turn those yellow stars into red stars. Then on top of that, you can then go over here, upgrade their gears to level 20. Then you can go back, tier 2 the character for bonus materials. That's what if you see on the top left of that little fist symbol at the top of the screen, it's right over there-ish. Follow my finger there. But you'll see the little fist symbol with that little 2 at the top of it, and that means I've tier 2'd this character. That increases their stats and gives them a brand new passive. So as you can see right here, here is my tier 2 passive for Punisher. And then what they're doing nowadays is for some characters, then you can spend even more materials to then rank them up to level 70, so you can upgrade their gears to 25, so then you can go back and upgrade them to tier 3, and that'll unlock a brand new skill for them. So every character has 5 skills at base, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, I believe a 4-star unlock, and then a 6-star unlock. I believe at one of these star ranks you unlock the passive. I don't know if that's 4 or 5-star, but essentially every character has 5 base skills, 2 passives, and then 1 sort of uber ultimate skill, along with every character also having a leadership that's upgraded by mastering up a character. So a lot to take in, but really when you're playing the game, you don't have to think too much about that when you're first starting the game. All you need to know is you're punching enemies with your character. So I'll show you guys Ant-Man in the skill preview screen so that way you guys can get an idea of how Ant-Man looks. Some of these characters can get a little crazy in this game and a little hard to follow. For example, Phoenix. But I'll try to start with somebody relatively simple like Ant-Man. So here's Ant-Man. You can move around like this with this joystick. So here's his basic attacks. Every character also has basic attacks. So as you can see here, here's Ant-Man's basic attack. And then I'll go to Ant-Man's first skill. So there's his first skill. You can see whenever I do this, you see that little X that pops up on him? That means he has an iframe right now, and he cannot be attacked during that moment. Very key to Marvel Future Fight's meta, iframes. Status effects play a huge part in Marvel Future Fight. Power creep's a really bad thing. Not going to talk a lot about that in this video. That's something I'll touch on in the review, but power creep, very big deal in this game. So as you can see, he kind of chucks a piece of rubble up, and then he increases the size of it. Next skill, kind of dashes around super small, hitting people. Other skill, he summons a bunch of ants and he attacks everybody. And then his the old ultimate, that's what we used to call it in this game before tier 3s came around. So you can see he pulls a bunch of items, he makes them big, and he summons an ant companion to beat up enemies. So now his tier 3 skill is activated. You get that by using skills, and then I can activate his tier 3 skill. And then this is really cool. Now, not everybody has tier 3s because they just added these into the game. So they're going back and giving every character a tier 3. But that's going to take a while because I'll show you why it's going to take a while. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That's Ant-Man's tier 3 skill. Like, that's sweet. Tier 3 skills are so cool in this game. Super hard to get. Very expensive to get to, but like, Come on, guys, that was pretty cool. I'll show you another one of them. Again, not a lot of these at the moment because they're just going back and adding them right now. When they didn't have tier 2s at one point in time, they had to go back in time and, not go back in time, but they had to go back and give everybody tier 2 passives, and that took a year, and that was just passive. So now they have to go back and add active skills. So you can see Deadpool, like, he's one of the more crazy characters. Like, his skills are a little harder to follow. You know, look at all this. This is a little crazy for a new player. But, you know, there's simpler characters that you'd be starting out with that aren't Deadpool. So you can see I'm charging up his ultimate down there with the thing that has a little 6 on it. Deadpool's charging it up. Up, we're almost there. Come on, Deadpool, charge it up. I mean, his basic attacks, man. Basic attacks are pretty crazy with him. Look at that. Woo! Man, Deadpool's pretty crazy. Alright, his ultimate is up. So I'm going to use his special ultimate skill. We'll group up a bunch of these enemies here. And then I'll use Deadpool's ultimate. Look at this. Man, look at that. Isn't that... Oh, man. Dude, those tier 3 skills are so cool in this game. Tier 3 skills are awesome. So that's Deadpool's skill, tier 3 skill. So again, a lot to soak in, but when you're playing this game and you're first starting out, not a lot to worry about. The only big things you have to worry about when you're a brand new player is like who to start out with, and then you can figure out all this stuff afterwards. I suppose I should also talk about, so here we have Doctor Strange. On top of upgrading your character gear, you can then equip Urus onto the gears. So as you can see here, you can equip Urus on, and those will give status effects to the characters. So those are little things you can equip. You can upgrade their skills for gold here. ISO 8, you can equip ISO 8 and activate sets to then give more stat boosts to them, and you can give custom gears which add even more stats to them, and then you can change their uniforms, which for some characters change their entire skill set or even their typing. So a lot to take in with Marvel Future Fight, but that's one of its drawing points, is how much there is to do in this game, how many characters. If you look right here, they have 165 characters at the moment, not counting uniforms that just completely change how a character plays. I believe it passed up Avengers Alliance 1, which, as I know, had the most amount of Marvel characters out of any Marvel game to ever exist. So I believe Future Fight is dominating right now in terms of how many characters they have. I mean, look at this. They have characters like Phantom X. He's brand new to the game. You know, who are some more lesser known characters? Hellcat, Moon Girl. You know, have a lot of characters in this game that maybe aren't the most well-known character. Deathlock. So really cool to get to see these characters have a little bit of spotlight in this game. So of course I just showed you skill preview, but I'm going to take you through more what a normal mode in this game looks like. Now of course a bunch of modes in this game. Another problem right now is a lot of these modes are outdated due to the power creep that I mentioned earlier. Some of these modes, like for example, they have this mode called Villain Siege where you can go in and fight an enemy. It's become super easy now due to how many, like now that they didn't have tier 2s, they didn't even have 6 stars back when they added Villain Siege from what I understand. It only went up to 5 star. So characters nowadays can get so much more stronger than they originally planned for Villain Siege. So I'm just going to hop into a Villain Siege stage right now, and I'll show you how easy Villain Siege can be. Of course, I'm doing this on the easiest level, but even on the hardest level, it's still relatively easy. I mean, look at this. Look at that. 4 hits, and you take out the boss in Villain Siege. So even though there's a lot of content in this game, you'll find a lot of it maybe isn't the most relevant nowadays. Now, of course, as a new player, some of this would be still challenging for you, but for a lot of the veterans, a lot of content just doesn't even mean anything to you anymore. So I'll take you through a mission in the story mode real quick to give you guys a quick view of just a random mission. So let's pick a, ooh, this one's pretty cool. We'll do this one. Now we're going to bring in a relatively big team. I don't want to pick characters that are too crazy because I want you guys to be able to follow this. Every game you bring in 3 characters, generally speaking. If you're playing World Boss, you're bringing in 5 characters, like 3 main characters for your team and then 5 characters that assist you. We'll try a World Boss 2 in this episode. I'd say those are the 2 big modes along with Shadowlands, but Shadowlands is kind of relatively simple to understand. So if you were to hop into the game, it's very easy to follow Shadowlands. So let's see, who do we want for this? We're going to use a tier 2 character because we're pretty late into the game. I'd say we put Wasp in because Wasp has a passive while her leadership is really great, and her tier 2 passive, I believe, if we scroll down to her skill, she boosts her team. So let's see here, tier 2. Oh no, her tier 2 passive doesn't do that, but she has her 6-star skill, Swarm Shield, and that provides a barrier to her team that makes them immune to all damage. So very helpful for characters. We're going to want to bring in a heavy hitter. Sharon Rogers, I think, is who we're going to want to go for this. Very strong character, so we'll put her in there. And then we have a blast type team going on here, so let's use Cable or Doctor Strange. Let's use Cable. Now, some of these characters should be relatively easy to follow, and this has one of the coolest boss battles in the entire game, so this should be a pretty fun one to watch for you guys. So I did mention Shadowlands, World Boss, and Story Missions. Story Missions, you just get to the end of it, you fight the bad guys in the battles. Oh, we don't want to autoplay this, we want to actually play this. So here you can see Wasp is here, she's fighting these guys. So Shadowlands is kind of World Boss. Essentially, you fight one big boss like Thanos, and it's only him, but he's like immune to status effects, so it's just sort of raw DPS there. Shadowlands is sort of a mix between story missions and World Boss, where you're sort of fighting normal baddies, like you're just fighting, you know, evil versions of the heroes, so they're not immune to status effects. So it's sort of a mix of story mode where you're relying on status effects and World Boss where they have high health pools. So Shadowlands is sort of a nice in-between. I think generally everybody's favorite mode in the game. So Wasp, sort of hard to follow with her new uniform, but hopefully you can sort of get an idea of what's happening with Wasp. Probably one of the hardest things for this game as a new player is just following what characters do. Sharon Rogers, a relatively straightforward character, so I'm going to start out with her third skill right here. She absorbs a bunch of damage, buffing herself for all the damage she absorbs. Then I'm just going to go crazy with her other skills here. So as you can see, I think I've cleared everybody that's in this area, so I'm going to move on to the next area. Oh, no, I must have missed somebody back here. Who's back here? Oh, I went to the wrong side. This is where I'm supposed to go. So here I keep going. Oh, more bad guys. We're going to fight them. Again, relatively easy for me because I'm a high-leveled player, but this was challenging content at one point in time, and it's still going to be relatively hard. I can't not think when I'm playing this, but it's not as bad as it used to be. All right, so let's see. Next wave of baddies have showed up. And this is what you're going to be doing a lot as a brand new player to Marvel Future Fight, is you're going to be hopping into these story missions and sort of going across them and using your characters to fight bad guys. Now, this is one of the coolest bosses in the game right here. Look at this. You're fighting this giant serpent. It changes the camera angle. This is sweet. This is so cool in this game. You can bring in a friend to assist you in battle. So here's, I called in somebody else's Captain America. Sharon Rogers is fighting this guy. As you can see, since because this is such a big boss, he actually gives a red area on the field where he's going to be attacking, but I actually want him to attack me as Sharon Rogers so I can get some stacks for her passive, well, for her third skill, so that way I can attack even stronger. All right, keep going with Sharon Rogers. Sharon Rogers is still fighting strong here. Isn't this so cool? It's so cool how big he is. Oh, so Sharon Rogers is getting a little low. We're going to switch out for Cable here. So Cable's going to stand off to the side here, and we're just going to launch the bazooka at him. So Cable's going to keep firing off. His DPS is a little more consistent than Sharon Rogers, but a little hard to pull off because, again, I have to stand still. I switched to his other skill because some meteors were falling. I didn't want to stand still, but it didn't really work because then I stood still. He can meditate, I guess, to heal. I don't know if Cable I guess he meditates. I can do this thing where I teleport and then launch a bunch of missiles. I can call in like a solar strike kind of thing. I use my gun some more with this other skill, but mostly I'm going to be using my 6-star skill. Nope, we're going to run around for a bit because he keeps on trying to attack us from underground. Ooh, that's a consistent hitbox. I wasn't ready for that. All right, so we're going to move around a bit. All right, he's going to dive back down. All right, shoot at him some more. And I'd say we're safe to switch back to Sharon Rogers. All right, we're going to keep going. I think we're doing relatively well in this battle here. Back when I first did this was very difficult to do, but nowadays with tier 2s and tier 3s coming around, you know, what happens is content just becomes easier as you build the strength of your roster. So there we go. We took down the Midgard Serpent. He's defeated. We win. Victory screen. We get our rewards, and we move on to our next mission of the day. So I'll show you guys Shadowlands real quick. So as you can see, there's all these stages you go across. You can only use characters once as you go from stage to stage. If I hop into this battle, I pick who I want to fight. So say I'd be fighting these guys right here, some combat characters. So I'd be wanting to use some of my blast characters. So we'll go through my blast roster. And who do we want to use for this battle? I decided I'll actually show you guys what this looks like. This is probably one of the most fun modes in the game. So why not? I'll treat you guys in this video. I'll show you guys what it looks like. So that's not the best synergy in this game with that team, but again, I'm very overpowered for this, so I don't really have to worry too much about synergy. So let's see. We got Cyclops, Whiplash, and Mysterio against Punisher and Blade. So there we go. Cyclops has another one of those skills like Cable where he can stand still and continuously laser beam at somebody. And then he's got this. I have one of his uniforms equipped, so that makes him pretty good. I'm off to the side. You can't even see what I'm doing. So here we see Now, only one of my characters are out. They have a relay stage and a rumble stage. And a rumble stage, all 3 characters that I've equipped for the battle, all 3 of them will be fighting at once, but this is a relay stage, so I only use 1 character at a time. So this is his 5th skill. He dashes around a bunch. That skill, and this is a bouncing blast, and then this is sort of his auto-aiming ability. And then we'll switch off the Whiplash. You guys go get a quick look at Whiplash. Whiplash, really not that great in this game, but I wanted him for the memes, so we upgraded Whiplash to tier 2. And because I just have so many characters at tier 2, I was looking for other characters to tier 2. So as we can see, Whiplash taking down Captain America. I mean, how many games can you say have Whiplash? I mean, isn't that really cool that they have Whiplash in this game? So again, Shadowlands, and now I'd move on to the next stage, but I couldn't use Whiplash or Mysterio or any of the other characters I just used again. So now we'll hop into World Boss. I'd say we'll cover the 3 biggest modes in Marvel Future Fight in this video. And then so as we can see, you can choose which boss to fight. They have a bunch of different ones. And they even have these guys. You can even fight Apocalypse in this game. Isn't it cool? Apocalypse, so many cool characters in this game. And then, so what you'd be doing is if you're brand new to this game, you'd fight on the beginner difficulty, normal difficulty, and there's ultimate difficulty, and you fight then the Infinity War version of the character. Ultimate's kind of difficult, and it's sort of long because they have a lot of health, so we're not going to do that in this video. We're just going to fight normal Proxima Midnight. I'd probably be capable of clearing it with my roster, and I do clear with my roster often, but I don't really feel like for this video. It's a long battle. They have a lot of health. That's another problem with some of the bosses in this game. They just keep giving them health. So we're going to go all out. We're going to use some really good characters. As you can see, I'm calling in these strikers right here who are going to come in and help me out throughout the battle. Alrighty, so here we are. We're fighting Proxima Midnight. We got everybody here. We're in Wakanda. So this is, I believe this is called Pimtron. This is a uniform for Ant-Man, and this is sort of when Ultron and Hank's mind merged or something like that in the comics. But this is a really cool costume. Look at this. Isn't that sweet? That's an awesome skill. I'm not even really hitting Proxima right now, but that's okay. Look at this. Look how cool this is. It's such a cool uniform. This is a relatively new uniform to the game. And as you can see right now, quickly things get a little out of control, a little hard to follow. But as you start the game, it gradually builds up to things that are this crazy. So when you first start, things are going to be relatively tame. And then as you get farther along, things are going to get so crazy, but you're going to know what's happening. Like, I know exactly what's happening right now. But to the untrained eye, you might not know what's happening. Sort of like games like League of Legends, where you can't really follow what's happening unless you play the game. So we're going to use Hulkbuster with his other uniform, his Infinity War uniform, so I summon a bunch of missiles, laser beams. I'm gonna punch him. Oop, Proxima's getting angry. Again, this is super hard content for a new player, but because of how over-leveled I am, very easy. Launch some missiles, pummel them, and I think, oop, a little bit left in Proxima. We'll take her out. There we go. So we took down Proxima Midnight. That's some of the, well, it used to be some of the hardest content in Marvel Future Fight, and that's a quick rundown of Marvel Future Fight. I will have a review that'll be coming out for Marvel Future Fight in the near future. First off, I'm going to do the Marvel Strike Force review, and then I'll come back and do a Marvel Future Fight review, but I'd like to hear down below, do you guys enjoy seeing Marvel Future Fight content on this channel? Would you like to see more of it? You know, I can talk about characters. I like to use some of the best characters in each class. I'm a little out of touch because I haven't been playing this game hardcore for quite a while, but as you can tell, I've played this game a lot, and I'm relatively well versed in it, so I'd be happy to talk to you guys about Marvel Future Fight. I think it's a pretty fun game to watch, and I think it's a very fun game to play. But I need you guys to let me know down below because I'm only a 16-year-old. That being said, signing off, guys.